Today we're going to teach our literature unit, Charlotte's Web. So I'm going to go ahead and give you your binders. Okay. Alexandra. I'll be having pencils brought to you as well. Brianna. Lexi.
Thank you.
Jana.
Thank you, Miss Deborah.
You're welcome. Brett. Isaac is not here at the moment. Aaron is not here. Rachel. Lydia.
Here. Thank you.
You're welcome. Georgie.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Does everyone have a binder now? Okay. The other day, we had a very special word. It was?
Grateful.
Let's all say this together.
Grateful.
Grateful. It's an adjective. And what does it mean?
The state of being thankful and appreciative.
Yes, it's the state of being thankful and appreciative. So now tell me, when we were talking the other day, who was grateful in our story?
Charlotte.
Was it Charlotte?
Yeah. No.
Who was it?
Wilbur.
Wilbur. So why was Wilbur thankful? Jana.
Because Charlotte saved his life.
Charlotte was saving his life, yes. And do we see who in our story is not generally thankful? Georgie, who would that be?
Charlotte.
No, she's generally...
Goose.
Who? The rat. What's the rat? Yes. Templeton. Templeton the rat. He is typically not very grateful in here, okay? So, Lydia, I would like you to take our very special word and put it in our treasure box. Now, why, as she's doing this, tell me, why do we put our words in the treasure box? Yes, ma'am.
Because they're the building blocks of ideas.
Yes, words are the building blocks of ideas. And we treasure these words. What do we do with words? Yes, what do we do with words? Yes.
We treasure them.
We treasure them. We treasure them because we use them to express our ideas. Okay? God gave us that very special gift of language. Do the animals have language?
No.
No, not like what we have. So we treasure the words that the Lord has given us. Okay? So today we have a new word. Brianna, would you like to come and put up our new word?
Reward.
Okay, hold on. Yep, go ahead and get the other side. All right. What is our word, Lydia?
Reward.
Reward. What does it mean, Georgie?
A noun.
It is a noun. What does it mean?
Benefit or payment resulting for worthy
Act. Yes. Okay. We can adjust the temperature. Now let's say this together. Reward. It's a noun. Benefit. Say this together. The benefit or payment resulting from a worthy act. Today, we're going to celebrate Charlotte's triumph and point out the value of her diligence and her hard work. The diligent person will reap the reward of their labor. What does that mean, Jana? If the diligent person, the one who's going to work till it's done, will reap the reward of their labor, what does that mean?
They work really hard doing something, and since they worked hard, they'll get a good payment, like like Brett's verses.
Very good. So the scripture tells us that all hard work brings a profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty. Poverty meaning that we have nothing. Means being poor. Okay? All right. You all have your binders. You all will give you a pencil. I have a coloring page for you today. Let me hand these out. This goes along with our story. You can color that while I am reading to you the chapter. Okay. You're welcome. There you go. You're welcome. Miss Ashley's going to give you your colored pencils. I always appreciate our assistants. They are tremendous help to us. While I am reading, I want you to be thinking about this word reward and see where you find it in our story. Okay? Okay, you'll need to be quiet. Okay, we are now in chapter 20, the hour of triumph. Special announcement, said the loudspeaker in a pompous voice. The management of the fair takes great pleasure in presenting Mr. Homer L. Zuckerman and his famous pig. The truck bearing this extraordinary animal is now approaching the infield. Kindly stand back and give the truck room to proceed. In a few moments, the pig will be unloaded in the special judging ring in front of the grandstand, where a special award will be made. Will the crowd please make way and let the truck pass? Thank you. Wilbur trembled when he heard this speech. He felt happy, but he was dizzy. The truck crept along slowly in low speed. Crowds of people surrounded, and Mr. Arable had to drive very carefully in order not to run over anybody. At last, he managed to reach the judge's stand. Avery jumped out and lowered the tailgate. I'm scared to death, whispered Mrs. Zuckerman. Hundreds of people are looking at us. Cheer up, replied Miss Arable. This is fun. Unload your pig, please, said the loudspeaker. All together now, boys, says Mr. Zuckerman, and several men stepped forward from the crowd to help lift the crate. Avery was the busiest helper of all. Tuck your shirt in, Avery, cried Mrs. Zuckerman, and tighten your belt. Your pants are coming down. Can't you see I'm busy, replied Avery in disgust. Look, cried Fern, pointing. There's Henry. Don't shout, Fern, said her mother, and don't point. Can't I please have some money, asked Fern. Henry invited me to go on the Ferris wheel again, only I don't think he has any money left. He ran out of money. Mrs. Arable opened her handbag. Here, she says, here is 40 cents, and don't get lost. And be back at our regular meeting place by the pig pen very soon. Fern raced off, ducking and dodging through the crowd in search of Henry. The Zuckerman pig is now being taken from his crate, boomed the voice of the loudspeaker. Stand by for an announcement. Templeton crouched under the straw at the bottom of the crate. What a lot of nonsense, muttered the rat. What a lot of fuss about nothing. Well, over in the pig pen, silent and alone, Charlotte rested. Her two front legs embraced the egg sack. Charlotte could hear everything that was being said on the loudspeaker, and the words gave her courage. This was her hour of triumph. As Wilbur came out of the crate, the crowd clapped and cheered. Mr. Zuckerman took off his cap and bowed. Lurvy pulled his big handkerchief from his pocket and wiped the sweat from the back of his neck. Avery knelt in the dirt by Wilbur's side, busily stroking him and showing off. Mrs. Zuckerman and Mrs. Arable stood on the running board of the truck. Ladies and gentlemen, said the loudspeaker, we now present Mr. Homer L. Zuckerman's distinguished pig. The fame of this unique animal has spread to the far corners of the earth, attracting many valuable tourists to our great state. Many of you will recall that never-to-be-forgotten day last summer when the writing appeared mysteriously on the spider's web in Mr. Zuckerman's barn, calling the attention of all and sundry to the fact that this pig was completely out of the ordinary. This miracle has never been fully explained, although learned men have visited the Zuckerman pig pen to study and observe the phenomenon. In the last analysis, we simply know that we are dealing with supernatural forces here, and we should all feel proud and grateful. In the words of the spider's web, ladies and gentlemen, this is some pig. Wilbur blushed. He stood perfectly still and tried to look his best. This magnificent animal, continues the loudspeaker, is truly terrific. Look at him, ladies and gentlemen. Note the smoothness and the whiteness of his coat. Observe the spotless skin, the healthy pink glow of ears and snout. It's the buttermilk, whispered Miss Arable to Mrs. Zuckerman. Note the general radiance of this animal. And then remember the day when the word radiant appeared clearly on the web. Whence came this mysterious writing? Not from the spider, we can rest assured of that. Spiders are very clever at weaving their webs, but needless to say, spiders cannot write. Oh, they can't they? Murmured Charlotte to herself. Ladies and gentlemen, continued the loudspeaker, I must not take any more of your valuable time. On behalf of the governors of the fair, I have the honor of awarding a special prize of $25 to Mr. Zuckerman, together with a handsome bronze medal suitably engraved in token of our appreciation of the part played by this pig, this radiant, this terrific, this humble pig, in attracting so many visitors to our great county fair. Well, Wilbur had been feeling dizzier and dizzier throughout this long complimentary speech. And when he heard the crowd begin to cheer and clap again, he suddenly fainted away, and his legs collapsed. His mind went blank, and he fell to the ground unconscious. What's wrong? Asked the loudspeaker. What's going on, Zuckerman? What's the trouble with your pig? Well, Avery was kneeling by Wilbur's head, stroking him. Mr. Zuckerman was dancing about, fanning him with his cap. He's all right, cried Mr. Zuckerman. He gets these spells. He's modest, and he can't stand the praise. Well, we can't give a prize to a dead pig, said the loudspeaker. It's never been done. He isn't dead, hollered Mr. Zuckerman. He's fainted. He gets embarrassed easily. Run for water, Lurvy. Well, Lurvy sprang from the judge's ring and disappeared. Templeton poked his head from the straw. He noticed that the end of Wilbur's tail was within reach. Templeton grinned. I'll tend to this, he chuckled. He took Wilbur's tail in his mouth and bit it, just as hard as he could bite. The pain revived Wilbur, and in a flash he was back on his feet. Ouch! He screamed. Hooray! Yelled the crowd. He's up! The pig's up! Good work, Zuckerman. That's some pig. Everyone was delighted. Mr. Zuckerman was the most pleased of all. He sighed with relief. Nobody had seen Templeton. The rat had done his work well. And now one of the judges climbed into the ring with the prizes. He handed Mr. Zuckerman 2 $10 bills and a $5 bill. Here's a picture real quick of Templeton biting Wilbur's tail. See it? And then here's another picture over here. You can see it? Charlotte's not in this picture. Where is she? She's hiding.
Oh, I know which
Okay.
she's in.
Uh-huh. Then he tied the medal around Wilbur's neck. Then he shook hands with Mr. Zuckerman while Wilbur blushed. Avery put out his hand and the judge shook hands with him too. The crowd cheered. A photographer took Wilbur's picture. A great feeling of happiness swept over the Zuckermans and the Arables. This was the greatest moment in Mr. Zuckerman's life. It is deeply satisfying to win a prize in front of a lot of people. As Wilbur was being shoved back into the crate, Lurvy came charging through the crowd carrying a pail of water. His eyes had a wild look, and without hesitating a second, he dashed the water at Wilbur. And in his excitement, he missed his aim, and the water splashed all over Mr. Zuckerman and Avery. They got soaking wet. For goodness sakes, bellowed Mr. Zuckerman, who was really drenched. What ailed you, Lurvy? Can't you see the pig is all right? You asked for water, said Lurvy meekly. I didn't ask for a shower bath, says Mr. Zuckerman, and the crowd roared with laughter. Finally, Mr. Zuckerman had to laugh too, and of course, Avery was tickled to find himself so wet, and he immediately started to act like a clown. He pretended he was taking a shower bath, making faces and danced around and rubbed imaginary soap under his armpits. And then he dried himself with an imaginary towel. Avery, stop it, cried his mother. Stop showing off. But the crowd loved it. Avery heard nothing but the applause. He liked being a clown in a ring, with everybody watching in front of a grandstand. And when he discovered there was still a little water left in the bottom of the pail, he raised the pail high in the air and dumped the water on himself and made faces. The children in the grandstand screamed with appreciation. At last, things calmed down. Wilbur was loaded into the truck. Avery was led from the ring by his mother and placed on the seat of the truck to dry off. The truck, driven by Mr. Arable, crawled slowly back to the pig pen. Avery's wet trousers made a big wet spot on the seat. Okay. So why did Wilbur receive an award at the fair? Yes.
Because he has the writing in the web.
Because of the writing in the web. Brett, did you have something to add?
Yeah.
What?
Because they won.
Because they won? Okay. Anybody else? Yes.
Because he was famous.
Because he was famous? Okay. So why does the loudspeaker say that the writing on the web could not have come from the spider?
Because spiders don't
Raise your
write.
hand. Spiders don't write. So they think, huh? Okay. But do what? Say that.
But what if they did?
But what if they did write? Okay. What happens to Wilbur before he's given his prize? What happens to him?
Thanks.
He faints. So how is he revived?
With Templeton bit Wilbur's tail.
Templeton bit Wilbur's tail. And Wilbur did what?
Sprang right to his feet.
Sprang right to his feet, screaming what? Ouch! That's right. Okay. What reward did Charlotte receive?
The writing in the web. I guess.
Okay, now I want you to think about this. We said, what's our word here? Reward. What did she benefit? Yes.
A great friend.
Okay, she benefited by getting a great friend. What else did you think she received? Who had worked very hard to make this happen?
Charlotte.
Charlotte did. Who can tell the class what Charlotte had done just the night before? Who remembers what Charlotte did the night before? Okay.
She laid her eggs.
She laid eggs. What else did she do, Lexi?
She made an egg sack.
Okay, she made that egg sack, then she laid her eggs. What else?
The egg sack was waterproof.
Okay. Did she spin a web?
Yes.
And what did she do with the web after she spun it?
Laid eggs.
Well, what else does she do to the spider's web?
Wrote something.
She wrote something. What did she write in it?
Something.
No, she wrote humble.
Oh.
She wrote humble in that. So that was a lot of hard work on Charlotte's part that night, right? But how long has she been working on this project of hers of trying to save Wilbur's life? Did it just start that night?
No.
How long had it been going on?
Ever since the beginning.
Since the beginnings. Since the beginning when Charlotte found out that Wilbur was going to die, right? Okay, so she has been working on this for a long time. Do you think she feels rewarded for her long, hard work?
Yes.
Yes. She has received a benefit from a worthy act. This is where we see where reward is. This is when we go back to that the diligent will reap the reward of their labor. So, who do you think really ultimately wins in this? Lexi?
Charlotte?
Charlotte. Charlotte wins. And why does Charlotte win? Think about this. Why would you say that Charlotte wins in this situation?
Because she's doing all this stuff for Wilbur, and she's also doing stuff for her. But she's doing most stuff for Wilbur.
Okay, so she's being a true friend, is she not?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And as a result, she has received quite a reward. And the reward to Wilbur is what?
A medal.
A medal. But ultimately, what's it going to do for him?
Charlotte as a friend.
Yes, he gets Charlotte as a friend. What do you think Mr. Zuckerman will do with him?
Give him two $10 bills and a $5 bill.
Does Wilbur, do you think, keep his life as a result of this?
Yes.
Okay, so what lesson has Charlotte taught you about gaining triumph? And triumph meaning victory, conquest. In her hard work, you just said that she got a friend. Wilbur got his life. So how can you? How does this apply to you? Think about how this kind of work might apply to you. Anyone have any ideas? Why don't we ask our assistants? Taylor, what lesson has Charlotte taught you about gaining triumph?
No matter what, you can stick with a friend to help them through anything.
Okay.
She kind of taught me that even though a friend maybe she or he may be different, it doesn't matter what he looks or he or she looks like, but it matters what is in the inside.
Okay. She's talking about that it doesn't really matter what someone looks like, but that the ultimate reward is getting to know them on the inside. Okay, think about this. Think about, she has worked really, really hard to accomplish a big thing. And that is by writing the words in this web day in and day out. And Wilbur's life is spared as a result. Ashley, how would this apply to your life? Thinking about your circumstances, about being diligent and pursuing something, and your reward, like.
Kind of again, if you work hard, it'll pay off in the end, kind of thing.
Okay. Ashley says that working hard will pay off in the end. Okay. Anybody have anything else they want to add? Marco?
Can't think of anything.
Okay. All right. Okay, if you will put up your coloring pages and pull out your graphic organizer, the one that says Wilbur's character. And we're going to go ahead and write some things in your organizer. Everybody, do you have a pencil? Okay.
I have a pencil.
We want the one that says Wilbur. The one that says Wilbur's character, okay? Alexandra, let's go ahead and put this up. And let's pull out your graphic organizer that says Wilbur's character. Once you have it, open it up and show me so I know that you have it. There you go. All right. You can just put that in there like that. Okay, everybody have Wilbur's character? Thinking about, Marco, if you could show him. Thinking about what I just read to you. Let's see, Wilbur's character. Let's look at the internal. Remember, we talk about internal Causes what you do on the outside. That internal is causative to external. So what you think in your mind and in your heart shows in what you say, what you do, what you wear. Okay? So internal. We read that he's modest and he can't stand praise, right? He's modest and can't stand praise. Doesn't he faint at this? He's just fainted, right?
Yes.
And this is what Mr. Zuckerman says about him. He's modest and can't stand praise. He also says that Wilbur gets embarrassed easily. This tells us about his character, who he is. We said that he was modest, he was humble before. And again, Mr. Zuckerman's bringing that up. He's modest. Now on his external, Wilbur blushed. If you're somebody that gets embarrassed easily, what happens? Do you blush? You blush. So it says Wilbur blushed. Yes, sir.
We don't have to write the blush because it looks like it's a little long in the top of the tube.
It also says he's distinguished. If you just let me write these real quick and I'll get out of your way. Okay.
That R looks like a V.
Okay. Those are two R's. Just record what you can. Record at least one statement from each side. Okay?
What's that? What is
EM. Remember what these are called? Quotation marks. Why do we use quotation marks? Yes.
Because it's straight from, it's what the author said.
It's
straight from the book.
That's right. It's straight from the book. This is what the author says. So we're going to give the author credit by putting what they said in quotation marks.
Is this good cow?
Yes. Yeah. We also like to find good words that authors use, like distinguished. When you're done, just put down your pencil. Okay. Let's just be quiet while the last few students are writing the last few words here, okay? We always want to follow through on what we've agreed to on our AMO compact here. Our compact saying that we're going to respect and honor each other. We're going to have a learning spirit. We're going to remain attentive and speak gently. Steward your property and time wisely. All of you are doing a good job doing that.
Is this a you?
Yes. Since most of you are done, I would like you to repeat after me, all of you. May I reap the rewards
May I reap the rewards
of diligence and hard work.
of diligence and hard work.
We'll say it one more time. May I reap the rewards of diligence and hard work.
May I reap the rewards of diligence and hard work.
Very good.